Okay, go live. And we are back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Welcome to Miami Dolphins Syndicate. Donovan, is your house alive? Is everything okay?
Oh, we Gucci, we Gucci. I don't know what happened with the with the power there. Just mid sentence wants to black out.
You did mention that in spite of all of that, we were still technically more on time than we were last week.
Yeah, man, that's hilarious, ain't
Yeah, it's
it?
like it's the first time in like 3 weeks that we started not literally right at 7, but basically right at 7. Like the last few weeks it was like 7:15, 7:10, 7:20
I'm
last week.
20.
It kept getting worse and worse, and we're finally ready to go. 7 o'clock, hit live, and you decided to die.
Yeah, I apologize. We out here, by we I mean me, live out in the boonies.
Yeah, because there's nobody else out there.
But listen, hey, if y'all want 3 bedroom, 2 bath, kind of shitty internet, house in the middle of nowhere, hit your boy up, $2,600 a month.
If anybody actually knows where the city of LaBelle is and you want to rent a
Oh,
house,
don't be throwing the city name out there, bro.
even what they're gonna pull up to your house?
There's like 3 houses out here. They might.
Yeah, that's a good point. There is nobody out there. You don't live in. The thing is, you don't live in the city of LaBelle. You live in the middle of nowhere. Like the city of LaBelle isn't where you live.
I know.
You literally live in the middle of nowhere.
LaBelle
As
actually has internet.
barely, barely.
No, they have Xfinity fiber.
Yeah. As we were trying to discuss previously. So Jalen Waddle went down. Looks like a rib injury. Lands on a ball in 11 on 11s. Goes out for the rest of practice. Gets help. Goes back to the locker room. And like I already discussed with Tua, he ended up missing 3 games with a fractured rib. That's looking like the worst case scenario. We don't really know as the time of recording what the injury diagnosis is going to look like. But again, kind of worst case scenario, you have a broken rib. Best case scenario, it's bruised. It's you got a little injury in there. Donovan, you tried answering this earlier. How
Yeah.
concerned are you about this injury?
So, as I was trying to explain earlier before my house decided to have a meltdown on me, I'm trying to keep my level of concern down because once again, we don't know exactly what the injury is. They haven't released anything on the injury. At this point, it's all speculation. He's holding his side, was on the ground for 4 minutes, is what reports have. I guess they had timers out when he was on the ground. Like, oh, Waddle's down.
Imagine having that job.
Imagine.
I can do
But
that.
yeah, they said he was down for about 4 minutes before
How
he
many gang signs was
waddled
Tua throwing up? One. Sorry, go ahead.
before he waddled into the locker room.
He didn't know. Tua didn't waddle. He was
No, I
asleep.
was I was talking I was talking about waddled into the locker room.
Yes.
I was in the
And before
middle of
anybody
a
hates me, I'm
joke.
wearing a Tua jersey. Don't kill me. Gosh, dang it. I like him, believe it or not. Continue.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I was in the middle of making that joke when he interrupted me.
Don't care.
Whatever. But yeah, I'm trying to keep my level of concern down. But like you said, worst case scenario, it's a broken rib. Tua had a fractured rib, missed 3 games. It is different for a quarterback though, because they can put on that vest around their ribs,
Yeah.
and they definitely don't get hit as much as receivers do. But we've seen Waddle just absolutely get destroyed in a game. Like goes to the sideline, gets a little bit of treatment, then goes right back into the game. Like the Alabama championship game, he didn't even need to play in that on his broken ass ankle, and then he went out and balled out in that game, and that gave me a lot of respect for Waddle. That's what made me want him in the draft. Was that little thing? But yeah, as far as concerned, should I be for the injury? I don't know yet because at this point, I think worst case scenario, broken rib, he misses 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's week one's still a month away. I think we're good.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely not of the level of Jalen Ramsey. It's not of the level of what we've some injuries we've seen Tua get. He's able to walk under his own power. Didn't have to get carted off. That is a difference between. I think Tua was carted off. I think he got to the sideline and then
Yeah.
he was then carted off after he got to
Yeah.
the sideline. So a cart was nonetheless involved. As for Waddle, he is a tough guy. We've seen that he has been able to play through injuries. We've seen him come back quick, like you mentioned with Alabama, how he's able to come back with that injury. And it that helping him coming back may have been what elevated him over Devonta Smith in that draft class. The fact that he was able to come back and get on the field at the very least. The only thing that I'm concerned about is kind of something that I've been talking about in general when it comes to camp injuries. Is it's just time getting taken away from getting those conditioning, get more acclimated into the offense, getting that comfortability back after having a whole offseason off where, I'm sure him and Tua have worked out a bit, but there's nothing like getting those reps in practice, especially these next few weeks where you're getting reps in practice against other teams. You're not just lining up against your own guys. You're lining up against guys who genuinely really want to stop you. So it's a little bit of a different a different weight on it than the last week or so. So as for week 1 regular season, like you just mentioned, that's kind of like the worst case scenario is week 1. You're kind of teetering. Do you play? Do you not play? But this is not looking like an injury where it's going to hold you out 2 or 3 months. I'd rather him just aim on the side of caution and whatever you got to do. Like I already assumed he wasn't going to be playing on Friday. This kind of just staples that in, as Mike McDaniel hasn't yet alluded to who are going to be the holdouts on Friday, and that's something we're going to discuss later with the preseason preview. But now it's like no matter what, he's not playing Friday, and just let him get that time to heal the rib.
Yeah, 100%. And just let him heal. Like, I'm fine with, especially, our star guys, Tyreek, Waddle, Teron Armstead, even Connor Williams, Christian Wilkins. Like, I'm fine with those guys not playing in preseason. Yeah. If you feel like they need, like, the live reps, then, throw them in for a series or two. Like, I feel like Tua may need the live reps, so I'm thinking maybe he's in there for the second and third game for like a series or two in each game.
Yeah, that's really you don't want guys that are injured to go out there. And when he originally went down, and I heard he was like holding his side, it was originally reported that he's holding his knee, and that's something that's really concerning. Those knee injuries, those ankle injuries, Achilles, ACL, MCL, everything in that bunch is really scary. And like we mentioned in the previous live stream again for his internet in-house tried to kill himself, somebody who has him on 2 dynasty teams is like, dude, I don't want to be starting my season off with, now I have Burrow who's going to miss some time, I have Breece Hall who's going to miss some time, Kyler Murray's going to miss some time, and now Waddle too on top of it. Like, dude, I'm just going to kill myself at that point.
And then after all of that, you're still a Dolphins fan, so
oh boy, yeah, oh, man. Don't tell it to OJ McDuffie. Don't tell that to OJ McDuffie. All right, he might try to.
OJ McDuffie. Oh my god.
He might try to fight you just for that statement, saying that it's such a bad thing.
Hey man, you're a Dolphins fan, so I'm a Dolphins. It is concerning to a point, but. I think we just got to let this one go off the shoulder until we get any hard evidence of any,
anything to allude anything to allude otherwise.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the rest of the couple days of training camp. What we've seen so far is, Tua's looked good. That their corners really haven't been able to keep up with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle while out there. That's been the I don't think it's been anything that's been too surprising. Running game, still very meh. Wide receiver wise, I liked what I've seen from Robbie Anderson. Right before we going live here, got to see some clips, and he's looked crisp, running pretty good routes, looks quick, and that's what you think you're going to get from him. It looks even like a little bit better of a route runner than you kind of anticipated, and part of that you get from a quarterback playing with the quarterback with Tua, who's able just to place the ball so well that it makes your route running look even better. It makes it look even crisper because you're getting the ball where you're supposed to be getting it. Nice to see, Mac Hollins return back onto a Dolphins field.
Dude, I miss Mac Hollins. Did we have this practice field when he was here?
I want to say yes.
He was here.
I want to say the last year.
2 years. It was okay, yeah, because 2 years ago is when I think his last year here was the first year of that practice field being open.
But that was COVID, so we weren't present at all.
Ooh.
So we haven't seen him there, but he has been there before.
Yeah, because he was on the Raiders last year, and then the year before that he was on the Dolphins. So the Brian Flores era. So Brian Flores.
Yeah, exactly. He was a captain. Can't believe he was a captain, but still love him.
Team's captain.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to make a name for himself as a wide receiver now over with Atlanta, and he did have his best year over with the Raiders. And as all Dolphins fans, we're kind of rooting for that guy. I know a lot of Dolphins fans on Twitter. They're always like, "I wish the best for him. I
Yeah.
miss him here in Miami." Like,
Yeah, he
maybe
was.
he could be one.
As much as I like kind of roll my eyes at the fact that he was a captain, like he genuinely was a pretty good locker room presence, a very positive individual, somebody who's, as far as we can tell, like very nice to be around and good for the team, good for the locker room. What have some things that you've seen that have stood out to you in terms of, because neither him or I were there for the last couple of days for training camp and the joint practices. So what are some things that you've seen in terms of reports that really stood out to you from these last 2 days of training camp?
Really, but between yesterday and today, just the difference between the offensive and defensive line. Day one of the joint practice struggled mightily to the point where now Isaiah Wynn today was getting the majority of the left guard reps, and with that, replacing Eichenberg, they also looked apparently angry and mean and hungry, and they dominated today, and that was good to hear. But on the flip side, yesterday our defensive line was dominant, and then today I heard that they struggled pretty decently against the Falcons' offensive line. Now, given that is one of the better offensive lines in football, a run first team and everything, still we have one of the best front sevens in the NFL. I would like to struggle there.
Yeah, it's nice to get those reps against, putting it exactly how it is, a good offensive line and a good running game. That is not something you get with our offensive line. That's not something you get with our running game, and that's something that definitely to be concerned about, which is actually we'll talk about a little bit later about concerns that we have personally with the offense. But Bijan Robinson is no doubt the guy to watch when we look at the preview and we'll see whether he plays at all in general, because he's a rookie and they do currently have him listed as third on the depth chart. But he's a guy that you assume eventually is going to work his way up to that number one spot. It's just a case of being a rookie, like we've seen with our own guys on the depth chart.
I was gonna say, like, what are you talking about, man? He's their third best third best running back on that team according to the depth chart. Yeah. See this is why we keep telling the preseason one depth charts don't mean a damn thing. When it comes to the regular season, that's when we'll start paying attention to the depth charts more heavily. But yeah, Bijan, day one, day two, just doing what Bijan does pretty much. And I did want our linebackers to keep up better with him today. I didn't hear anything bad. I didn't hear anything good either. Out of camp. So it's kind of like, no news is good news almost.
Yeah, that's largely what the vibe was that I got from it too. Like, other than the Wall injury, which is obviously bad, even though we don't believe it's a really bad. If that didn't make any sense, but you know what I was trying to say. There wasn't anything too noteworthy. It was just another practice. There was a fight. There was a little bit of tussling and pushing around, which is something that you expect to happen with guys that are expecting to make or not expect that are hoping to make the team. They're right there on the fringe, or guys that think they're going to get cut and they're really trying to put forward effort. They get pretty emotional because this is their livelihood. This is their job. So guys on both teams, this is the time where they really literally and figuratively, fight for their spots, fight for their positions, or fight to put something on film that can attract somebody else to pick them up. So eventually, like we've seen a few other camp scuff-ups. This was something that was expected to happen. We've seen it, even with Travis Kelce slapping a teammate. Like these type of things just happen.
It happened twice, by the way. Two
did?
Different teammates. Two
Really?
different teammates this camp. Yeah. It was funny because it was like, I want to say it was like the day after, or like 2 days later or something, and he had already apologized for the first incident on Twitter and everything, so it just made it even funnier that he did it again.
Like, sorry guys, just kidding.
I was really looking forward to him talking about that on the New Heights podcast, but I don't think he did. Is what it is. But yeah, you like to see the fire, the competitiveness. Another thing that really stood out to me from what reports were saying is Eric Ezukama made his return on Tuesday to practice, and he was just high-pointing the ball and just doing what we've seen him do pretty much before his injury and continue on his great rookie his great.
I
sophomore
mean, might as
campaign.
well be his rookie season
Might
since
as
he
well-
didn't play.
Might as well be, but his sophomore campaign so far, and he's been doing really well, and I think he's almost solidifying his place as the third wide receiver on this offense. And I said it, and I'll keep saying it. I think he's taking Gesicki's role. I think, we ran a lot of 3 wide receiver sets with 2 tight ends, and having Gesicki out there in the slot. I think, Ezukama goes there, takes Gesicki's spot, and then I think whoever our fourth is going to take Trent Sherfield's spot.
I saw a lot of good footage of Robbie Anderson, and I'm starting to lean him for the wide receiver 3 spot on the basis of, for one, I think he's looked good. Eric Ezukama's looked good as well, but with Robbie Anderson, you have a little bit of experience, whereas Eric Ezukama, we think he's going to end up being good. We're not quite sure. We know what Robbie Anderson is, and we know what he's not. And that comfortability, that knowledge, that film that teams, including obviously the Dolphins who now have of him, and see what he's good at, see what he's not good at. I think that's just a safer option to go with than a guy who, I mean, did he have a catch last year, Eric Ezukama? Did he have 1, 2? Did he have any catches?
I think he had 1 or 2.
I think
he has more than Hunter Long had in his 3 years here. So,
which the fact that we got Jalen Ramsey for Hunter Long in a third is still baffling to me. But yeah, Eric Ezukama, you didn't see a lot of him at all last year. Robbie Anderson, you know what he is. You know what he's not. You know where he's good. You know where his weaknesses are. And the film I saw of him today looks sharp. The route running, the hands, like everything that you wanted it to be as a wide receiver 3, it looks like kind of what we want Cedric Wilson to be, what we thought he was going to be last year. So kind of a quicker guy, bigger body. That's exactly what we're getting right now from Robbie Anderson. And Cedric Wilson just continuing to fall further and further down the wide receiver depth chart to me.
Agreed on the Cedric Wilson part, but I want to go back to the Robbie versus Ezukama thing. Do you want to make a friendly bet? This wasn't discussed before this.
You still owe me $1.
Okay.
You still owe me $1.
I still owe you $1.
Still owe me $1.
Blackman threw a pass in 11 on 11s. I owe you $1. I do owe him $1.
I'm so sad he got cut. I'm so sad James Blackman got cut.
So
I would love for him to take Skylar Thompson's place.
The bet would be whoever the wide receiver 3 ends up being, Ezukama or Robbie Anderson. Well, I'm not gonna say a jersey because I don't think we can get a fake jersey. But if you can, cool. We'll make it okay. So fake jersey is the number 1, but number 2 is a shirt with the number and their name on the back, kind of like a shirt jersey kind of thing.
I don't know if you understand the term friendly bet. What that means. Friendly bet usually requires very little to no money being involved instead of $60.
Hey man.
No.
You don't want to bet that?
I am formally rejecting your offer. Because you say friendly bet, I thought you were going to be the, like $1 or $2 like we did. Like we were there
right,
we were there at the
hey, do you want to do $1? Do you want to do $1?
Well, yeah, we'll do $1, double or nothing.
Double or not? I mean, I'll still pay you the $1, but
well, that's kind of the point of double or nothing. Like if you win, it's null and void. If I win, I get $2.
So week 1 depth chart is going to go Tyreek, Waddle, then it's going to be Easy as the 3rd.
Okay. I think it's going to be Robbie. Comment here from Franklin. He wants to know more about what Waddle is. You weren't here earlier on the stream for Waddle's injury. What happened to Waddle? 11 on 11 injury, or 11 on 11 practice. He went up for a catch, came down. What looks like he came down on the ball on his rib, and initially it was reported that he was grabbing his knee. Thankfully, that has been refuted, and it looks like a rib injury. Now, we don't know at all the extent of it. It could be a little bit of bruise. It can be a fracture like we saw with Tua, what was it, 2 years ago? Last year, whatever it was. It could be something along those lines where, worst case scenario, it probably would be a 3 to 4 week injury. We're still waiting on Mike McDaniel to release any sort of news about what the injury looks like. But as of now, definitely looking like a rib injury, some sort of torso injury, assuming it's going to be a rib injury. And, worst case scenario, my assumption, worst case scenario, kind of similar to a 3 or 4 week injury, should be ready to go by week 1.
Yeah, I will anticipate that he returns to practice either sometime next week and just wears a red non-contact jersey.
I wouldn't make that assumption until I know whether it's
Well,
broken or
yeah,
not.
because reaching up like that, yeah, that's
Yeah, if
fine.
it's broken,
Well,
like
we should know the extent of it. I believe tomorrow. I don't think there's practice tomorrow, but I believe they have to release the injury reports and stuff.
yeah, that definitely should know more about this by the time you wake up tomorrow. Hopefully, but what we can get into is speaking of reports and stuff like that is talking about the Falcons game that we have. We have football. We have actual Dolphins football coming up. Finally, by the time this actual video goes out, it'll be for the game tomorrow. Miami Dolphins, Atlanta Falcons, after a week of practicing together, finally get to go out there. The one home game for the Miami Dolphins in preseason, the other two will be away. So the one opportunity, Don and I will be there. We mentioned this a couple of times after we met our fan. Shout out to Cat for Life. If you see us in public, if you see us at the game, I'm a rather large individual. He's a rather round individual. So you can you can easily spot us out if you see us. So if you do, come say hi. Don't be afraid. But we do, like I said, we do have actual football between the Dolphins and the Falcons, and it's preseason. You know what you get in preseason. You might get a little bit of starters. You might get a little bit of some actual football, actual NFL football. But going into a preseason game, the biggest talk is always who's going to play, who's not going to play. Donovan, what's your assumption of Dolphins players? What names first come to mind? Obviously, Waddle now with his injury. What guys are you looking at that the team is probably going to be holding out of this game?
Xavier Howard.
Yep.
Number one. Depending on how bad Cam Smith's injury is, because he's been practicing with it, but I'm not sure if they want him in a full game with it yet. Especially, like, he's kind of competing for that CB2 spot with Igbo. I'm curious to see if he gets held out or not. True Will, I'm interested to see. He just lost the red non-contact jersey today for the first time in training camp. So I'm curious to see if he plays. And then obviously, I don't think Teron Armstead's playing. I don't think Connor Williams is playing. I don't think Christian Wilkins. I don't think Bradley Chubb. Maybe Jalen Phillips for like a couple snaps, if that. But those big name main guys, I don't anticipate. I am curious to see if Tua gets on the field. I wouldn't doubt that he goes on there for like 5 snaps, like one series or something, and just calls it a day or one timeout or whatever. Just to like get a couple live reps.
Yeah, as a fan, obviously we'd love to see Tua play. We'd love to see some of these bigger guys play, but in the bigger picture of the season, in the bigger picture of week 1 being a month away, those guys don't need the reps. Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Teron Armstead, Christian Wilkins, all those big names on the team, they don't need those reps. What we're looking at as the biggest points of the game, I think the biggest one to look at is the quarterback competition for the number 2 spot. As of now, as of the depth chart that we saw yesterday, Mike White has that spot. Skylar Thompson, who was probably the best player in all of football last preseason. We can see if we can have that preseason wonder come back, kind of like Sam McGuavin every single year had absolutely fantastic preseason. We can see if that carries over from last year to this year for the 37-year-old Skylar Thompson, their 37-year-old second-year quarterback.
Oh my God, he's out here calling Skylar Thompson 37.
And Devon A-Chain's 5'6".
I was gonna say I'm not sure if that's worse than calling Devon A-Chain 5'6".
Dude, he's old. Obviously, I know he's not 37. Dude's old.
He's same age as Mike.
That's yeah, exactly. That's something that I'm very much intrigued to see. I don't, in terms of running backs, I don't think Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, either of them two, play at all.
Mostert's not playing.
Yeah, Mostert probably not playing. Devon A-Chain is still been beat up, so I doubt he gets out there. So is it going to be just 100% the Myles Gaskin, Savon Ahmed 2020 running it back?
Bro, I'm telling you.
The 2020 backfield, 2023 week 1 preseason running it back.
You know what's funny that you mentioned that is that last preseason, they both, as a tandem, just dominated in the last preseason game to the point where they actually got Sony Michel cut from the team. Like, people forget, we had Sony Michel until the 3rd preseason game last year.
Yeah. I was
crazy.
I was a little surprised that he got cut. I thought Ahmed was going to get cut, and here he is a year later. I'm very excited to see those two guys because they might be battling for a roster spot. We know that Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and A-Chain, unless we bring in a Dalvin Cook, we bring in an Ezekiel Elliott, a Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, who's still out there.
I was just gonna say that.
Kareem Hunt, after allegedly signing with 2 different teams and still being a free agent somehow.
Dude, it's crazy.
So those guys are still on the board, and it definitely looks like the Dolphins want to get a running back. So I assume Mostert and Wilson will still be there if that doesn't happen. And so then you're looking at Gaskin and Ahmed for that last running back spot. So you have a backup quarterback race, you have a backup running back race. Wide receivers, Cedric. I can see Cedric Wilson and Robbie Anderson potentially not playing, but it's more likely to be for the 2 of them. It's like one or two series, maybe 3 series for the both of them, because I think those 2 are kind of locks to make the team. You're kind of just battling for position. Wilson's only on the team because of his contract. It's not actually about his ability, but we know he's going to be there, so you might as well have him a full go. It's week 1 preseason. We want to be excited. We're excited to throw the jersey back on, be in Hard Rock Stadium. It's where you're so excited to be. I'm so sad that I'm not going to be there for the home opener. We both have season tickets. Somehow, I'm actually going to be at a Seattle Seahawks game during the Dolphins' first game of the season, first home game of the season.
I still, you keep telling me about how you're going to be in Seattle, and I still never, comprehend. You told me at least 3 times now. Yeah. It's just still, I don't remember why you're going to be in Seattle. I just know you're going to be in Seattle.
Yeah, me and my dad and my brother are going to be in Seattle, and when we did that,
right, yeah.
As soon as we're just going on vacation, and I was like, I brought it up 6 months ago. I'm like, can we see because originally the plan was to go in October or November and see a Trailblazers game in Oregon, because we're going to Washington and Oregon. So the plan was to see a Trailblazers game, but with Damian Lillard to be traded away, we're like, how much do we really want to go see a Trailblazers game unless they play the Warriors or somebody out there? But now, week 3, Seattle, your boy's gonna be out there. Franklin, any Dalvin Cook news? No. Simple as no.
Dalvin Cook has been posting a lot of videos on Twitter lately. Him training with Nick Hicks, just putting that out there to his trainer.
He's been training with Nick Hicks for years.
Just before Tua, I know.
Yeah.
But just pointing that out, he's been posting his training vids. He didn't sign with the Jets. Hasn't signed with anybody. Hasn't had a visit set up with anybody. I'm curious to see after the first preseason game if the Dolphins want to take a second look, if they want to bring him in for a visit, if they want to pay him a little bit more money. We did just bring in Deshaun Hand, so that took up a little bit more cap. They let Anthony Montalvo go, UCF legend. But yeah, as of right now, it's weird because at this point, I don't think him or Kareem Hunt get signed till mid-season.
What? Kareem Hunt nearly got signed back-to-back days. Kareem Hunt looks like he's going to be signed, I would assume Kareem Hunt's going to be on a team before the second week of preseason.
The thing is that Kareem Hunt, same thing as Dalvin Cook, he wants a workload. He doesn't just want a payday, he wants a workload. He wants the opportunity to go out there and be yeah, I'm still that dude. And he talked about that's the reason he fell out with Cleveland is because they started phasing him out for Nick Chubb. And rightfully so, because Nick Chubb is the better running back, is one of the best running backs in the league. But he wants to show that he's still that dude and can still be the primary guy. And I think as of right now, everybody's pretty much set at starting running back except for, the select few, including Miami. And I just, I think, they're going to wait for an injury or holdout or Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. I've maintained that I think he's going to end up as a Jet. Not Kareem Hunt, meaning Dalvin Cook. I think Dalvin Cook still is going to end up a Jet. Now, it's kind of swung the opposite way, whereas in the beginning, I was so confident he was going to the Dolphins, and the longer it took, the more confident that I thought he was going to go to the Jets. And now it started swinging back the other way. It's okay, I was so confident he was going to the Jets. Why has it not happened yet? Next thing you know, he's probably going to end up a Patriot or something. It's just that'd be ironic. Talking about workload. I still very much really, for multiple reasons, hope he doesn't become a Jet. A, because it's the Jets. B, because I have Breece Hall on my fantasy team, and that would just absolutely suck.
Yeah, which is why I was actually kind of excited when Hunt was going to visit the Colts, because I'm like, if he signs there, Jonathan Taylor's probably gone, which means two things.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor might go to the Dolphins, and two, that Kareem Hunt will be the primary back instead of, because I have Kareem Hunt in Dynasty as well.
Yes, this guy has him in one of our Dynasty leagues, and when he signed with the Saints, I immediately texted you like, bro, I feel so bad for you, because in my opinion, he also has DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm like, D-Hop goes to like basically the worst case scenario for you, except for Arizona. Like, in my opinion, it really is like the worst case scenario, except for him going back to Arizona. And then you have, you have Kareem Hunt, who goes to arguably the worst case scenario when there's Alvin Kamara, there's Jamal Williams. They like their rookie DeAndre Miller. I think that's what his name is. Keandre Miller. You have a tight end who's also a running back. Like, you just have so many guys in that backfield. You have Michael Thomas, who's allegedly the healthiest he's been in his entire career, basically.
Okay.
Which is still we'll have to see it to believe. Like, it's Michael Thomas. So, Slant Boy could just sneeze really hard and he might be out for the entire season again. Like, has he missed 2 full seasons in a row?
Bro, I don't think he's played since Breeze played.
So yeah, two full seasons in a row.
Breeze has only been out of the league for 2 years.
Yeah, he lost to Brady.
That's crazy.
He lost to Brady the year after they won the Super Bowl, or the year before they won the Super Bowl. I don't remember.
After.
Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, the situation. Yeah, I was like, dude, that sucks. But because D-Hop and Kareem Hunt going to 2 terrible situations. Now, if he went to Indy and JT leaves, that's, oh my gosh, that's like instantly one of the best situations. Now, you still have to deal with a mobile quarterback. So, like, if he goes to Indy and JT plays, I'm like, okay, that's basically just as bad as New Orleans is. Because, mobile quarterback, all pro running back. Led the league in rushing his rookie year running back.
Kareem Hunt is also a pass-catching running back, so if, you have a scrambling running back and then he has to check down, never really, has been good in college, so you don't know how he's going to be in the pros.
Yeah, they don't check down.
Check down guy.
He's
check down guy.
Anthony Richardson is actually the last thing from a check down guy. I saw like a stat, BDGE, when they were going over Anthony Richardson. I'm going to get this number completely wrong, so don't sue me. I know it's like, he was like the 115th quarterback in all of college football of passing to their running backs. Like, Power 5 school, University of Florida, had Dameon Pierce the year prior, has had some decent running backs in recent years in terms of college standards. He was in the 100s. I think it was either 115th or 150th, somewhere in that range. Anthony Richardson was in throwing the ball to running backs. So I don't expect any sort of passing work going to Jonathan Taylor, and then if Kareem Hunt goes there and Jonathan Taylor stays, then that's just even worse. So now that I'm saying out loud, you better hope he doesn't go to Indy, because I think Jonathan Taylor's staying.
I don't think Jonathan Taylor's staying. I think he's on the PUP because he forced his way there. So I think they wanted to put him on the NFI list for the back injury. But he's like, nah, you know what? I had ankle surgery. I'm just going to ride the ankle injury into the PUP and get my money.
This is turning into just a general NFL podcast, because honestly, there's not a lot of Dolphin stuff to talk about right now.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about,
No, you want to talk? Let's talk.
I do want to talk about a little bit more of the preseason game.
I don't.
Talk about like what matchups. I know you don't. What matchups do you really want to see like during the game? So not really like matchups, but like players you want to keep an eye on to see how well they do. Like for me, it'd be Eric Ezukanma. I want to see how well he does if he plays. I want to see, because we've seen a little bit in practice, but I want to see in the game, like live, full speed, how exactly he's grown as a player over a year. I'm curious to see the QB2 situation you mentioned earlier. Who's going to outperform who? I mean, we've seen Mike White have some dimes in practice, but then have some just absolutely asinine throws as well.
Yes, I can envision that. I don't think it's going to happen, but yes, I can envision that. I think he's going to end up staying as a Colt, but I can see Jonathan Taylor coming to the Dolphins, but then it will require giving up a first round pick and then signing him to a long-term deal. And
I don't think he takes it first.
First, second, call it what you want. Definitely a first or a second, nothing less than that. I would have been more inclined to give that to Saquon than it would have been to Jonathan Taylor. I would have preferred. Do you think they played Chosen during the preseason game? I think he gets a little bit of a run. Him, Ezukama, Cedric Wilson. Actually, Ezukama probably gets longer. Cedric Wilson and Robbie Anderson probably, I'd say they run like 2, 3, 4 series with whoever ends up as the starter. We both are in agreement that we don't think Tua is going to play at all this game. However, it looks like it's going to be, the first half probably Mike White, second half Skylar Thompson type of deal. They'd probably be getting the run as the ones. And even then, like, how long do they last as the ones? I'd say of the two, I think Robbie is the least likely to get time, and then Cedric Wilson, because he just still hasn't found his spot on the team. Cedric Wilson, Eric Ezukama, Braxton Berrios, River Craycraft, those are the guys who I think are going to be playing the majority of the game. So take Cedric actually out of Robbie Anderson. Probably plays a few series, and then the rest of those guys probably play a majority of the rest of the game, especially with Braylon Sanders coming down.
Robbie what?
Robbie Anderson.
I believe his legal name is Robbie Chosen.
I don't care. I don't care.
But no, I'm in agreement with you there. I think the majority of the first 2 to 3
Oh man, I got wet.
Sorry. Hey.
Then wipe it off my face. Continue. Don't let me Don't let me distract you, Big Danny. Sorry, what?
Oh my god. Ayo, pause.
Resume.
Anyways, resume. I think it's going to be Eric Ezukama, Robbie, Cedric. Braylon's not playing for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be mainly those guys and Craycraft, and I think there's going to be mainly those guys in the first half, and then the second half it's going to be I think Craycraft's going to play the entire game, and then I think it's going to be Freddie Swain, Chris Coleman, and we may even, I think maybe Ezukama gets in there for the entire game as well, just because he's so young and so raw.
Yeah, I want to see Ezukama out there because he has not defined himself a role. Like, yes, while we're very impressed with what he's done in preseason, in the training camp so far, live reps, he has not done a lot in Hard Rock Stadium so far. We have not seen much of him. We saw some of him in the preseason last year. I think actually he got balled out by, or Braylon Sanders balled out even more than he did. Whereas at the point this is the guy we spent a draft pick on, and this undrafted free agent looks better than him. So, he still has a lot to prove in this offense.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, Rodolfo. We believe, actually, we have 2 different opinions. We actually have a bet. It's a $1 bet. He thinks it's going to be Robbie, Chosen, Anderson. And then I think it's going to be Eric Ezukama.
I want it to be Ezukama. I just don't think he's done quite enough. And with Robbie Anderson, we mentioned earlier in the stream, you know what he is, you know what he isn't. We have years of tape on him, and he fits what this offense wants to do. Now, it'd be nice to have a slightly different option, what Eric Ezukama could be. But Robbie Anderson is just more of a natural fit into the offense. He's looked good in the joint practices with the Falcons, and he's just been. When we signed him, I was at a point with him where I'm like, all right, it's kind of like Mohamed Sanu, where I'm like, he's joining the team, but I think he's eventually going to cut. Yeah. Now I think he's done enough where I think he ends up getting that third wide receiver spot. He hasn't had really a bad day, and you've seen him. I've kind of looked at him every time I see him. I'm like, okay, nice. And it just keeps going on. Yeah. Okay, nice. Okay, basically. Nice. Like, it just keeps going. Like, nothing really outstanding. Like, in the scrimmage beforehand when they're doing some drills, he had some good runs during the drills before the scrimmage. So just everything he does is just like, okay, like, I'm become more and more of a believer in him, and he's somebody that can't be forgotten in this offense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we also got to remember he's like a year removed from his last 1,000-yard season, and he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
something like that.
So it's like he didn't have it last year. I think he had it the year before, though. I think him and DJ Moore were like the highest yardage receiving group in the league. Tough bet.
Tough bet. Yeah, I know. Hey.
Look,
Okay.
I wanted to bet a jersey.
He's out here trying to bet like $60. All right, and I'm like, okay, calm down. All right, bud. We had a dollar bet on Saturday. I said James Blackman was gonna get in. What was it? Like a minute later, he got in.
Bro, that was insane. You're like, hey, he's in, and I'm like, I look up and I'm like, no.
I'm like, that's my boy. I'm so sad I can't get a Blackman jersey.
Whatever. You probably still can, just customize it or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, if Igbo week 1, Igbo and Eric Ezukama, if they're listed if Eric Ezukama is the third and Igbo is the second corner, I'm buying Igbo and Ezukama jerseys. I'm 100% doing that.
What if week 1 rolls around and Igbo's inactive again?
I'll buy an Igbo jersey and burn it.
Jeez. Do you kind of like the grill week 1 last year under somebody's car?
Bro,
forgot that happened.
One?
That was week 1.
Oh man,
that was the Patriots game week 1. I wonder how that guy's doing in life right now.
I just remember walking back to the parking lot and I'm like, wait, this is closer to my car than I thought. Oh wait, this is way closer to my.
Because I remember.
Okay, it's over there.
I remember you were pissed because I said something along the lines of like, "I hope it's your car" or something like that, and you were like, "Don't even say that."
I wanted.
Because like I knew I was good. I saw where the fire was. I'm like, all right, I'm chilling. That ain't nowhere near my car. Or you're like, I don't think it's near my car.
That was like 3 rows. They had, bro. It caught like 4 or 5 cars on fire.
Caught like 8, bro. What are you talking about?
It was 8?
Because it was like 5 or 6 in a row, and then 2 in the row in front of it. Like,
dude,
absolute moron. I imagine that guy's watching the stream.
Hi, you're an absolute fucking moron. Sorry.
That guy's insurance was like, you did what now?
I think Chosen might get the 3rd. He's more of a speedster.
Exactly.
I mean,
more of a natural fit in the offense. It just kind of makes sense that he ends up being that guy. He is that guy.
My theory about it is the reason that he's getting the 3rd spot is because he's taking Gesicki's role. Gesicki was the 3rd wide receiver last year.
Or no, he wasn't. What? Dude, Trent Sherfield was over him. Come on. Trent Sherfield was more actively involved in the offense.
If you just like put on the board like X's and O's,
almost knocked over my lamp.
Oh, don't do that. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 is technically Gesicki's role.
He had no role other than just run out to the left
the entire time. He ran up the middle too.
I would bet my Tannehill jersey. Hey, I got my Tannehill jersey. This guy right here stopped me from buying a Jalen Waddle nameplate and ironing it over my Tannehill jersey. Buffoon would have saved me so much money. I still could do it, actually. I still could do it.
Don't do it.
Why not?
You have an excuse to buy a Waddle jersey.
Or I could just get the nameplate and then get the jersey that I actually kind of want.
Because that Tannehill jersey is also the old colors. You remember they did a color adjustment.
It is, yeah. It's a slightly different teal. It's a more depressing teal and orange. Like, why was that the colors they chose?
Yeah, and then there's also like blue in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about.
Blue.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's the teal's almost blue. It's like, what were they thinking?
No. They have like They have the teal, and then
I mean, I have the jersey.
I
have the jersey. I don't even know why we're bothering talking about it.
Yeah. Hey man, Tannehill's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding, but like when he comes back.
Apparently the jersey's at my dad's house. Actually.
Oh, I was just letting the people know that like Tannehill's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, so you should not.
Hall of what fame? Texas A&M.
Yes, he's going to be right up there next to Johnny Manziel.
I'm gonna hold back on the
jokes. It is honestly crazy to me how in that entire documentary they did not mention Tannehill once.
Why would they?
And like, because they're talking about how Texas A&M, it was the first year in the SEC, and yada yada yada, and all the pressure that came with it. They were not talking about the pressure of taking over for a quarterback that just went in the top 10 in the NFL draft.
There was no pressure. Like, Tannehill's a top 10 pick, but, like, there was zero hype around him. Like, I don't, you're probably going to misremember it just because you slobber all over Ryan Tannehill. Like, I remember when we took him, it was just kind of like, okay, cool. Kind of like when Daniel Jones, well, no. Actually, Daniel Jones, when they took him at 6, they were like, what is wrong with you? And now it's like, okay.
Yeah, basically.
It's actually somewhat worked out somehow. When we took him at, what was it? It was like 11, I think. It was like, okay. Like, you know, he's athletic. He played wide receiver. Didn't show really any of it. Much of the Dolphins.
Change it to Hill somehow. Change the jersey to Hill somehow.
Brother, if you know how to do that, by all means, let's hear it. If you got some ideas.
Who was the number? Do you have a Pennington jersey?
No.
Pennington was 10.
I think I did at one point. What's the most random Dolphins player that you've... This goes for you guys in the comments that are talking along too. What's the most random Dolphins jersey that you had that you can remember?
I don't have a random one. I had Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Tannehill. Dude, I wish I had a Cleo Lemon jersey. I really do. The GOAT.
Well, that would very much be the most random Dolphins jersey of all time.
I want one so bad, just for that one throw in overtime to beat the Ravens to go 1-15.
Yeah. So, by default, is Tannehill your most random? By default,
yeah.
I had a Joey Porter jersey.
Hey, he was good for the Dolphins for a little bit.
Ronnie Brown is not random. What are you talking about?
That is not random. He's a first-round pick.
He's also
he's
third
more
leading
than Tannehill.
He's like what, the third leading rusher in team history? Third or fourth? Yeah.
Fourth.
See, I know things.
I think he's behind Ricky.
Who's second?
Junior Say.
Ooh. Nice.
I just saw Zach Thomas was just talking about Junior Seau in his induction ceremony. Oh man. Tannehill will be retired next year. No, he won't. No, he won't. He's gonna be a backup next year though.
Johnny Manziel tried to say out himself.
They didn't hear you because you really like muffled that through the mic, but
did you hear me?
I heard you, but I didn't I understood what you're trying to say. But
I forgot I have the volume of the mic really turned up. If nobody heard me, it's gonna leave.
Just don't repeat it. Don't repeat it. That's just really, really bad.
Can we talk about how OJ said the math ain't mathin' when it comes to Henry Ruggs 3 to 10 years?
Bro, I'm still convinced that Henry Ruggs. Yes, I agree with you there. But
well, first of all, actually, the thing is, he's correct. Like, he's actually right. Like, the math ain't math. Like, homie should be in jail for 20 to life. All right, that should be what we're looking at. He got 3 to 10. Huh?
Don Strock, bro, that is not random. That's just a goated jersey. 100%. That's a goated jersey. You don't know who Don Strock is. Oh my god. Google Don Strock. Google Don Strock.
My toe is on a wire that's plugged. That's unplugged. And I have no idea what I'm touching.
Oh god.
Yeah. How did Henry Ruggs get 3 to 10? Other than the fact that he's just rich. Unless that probably is the only fact. Got 3 to 10. 3 to again 20. The fact that OJ's right about something, it's like. But he is he is in zero position to talk about the mathin'.
How many people did he kill? 2 or 3?
Which one?
OJ. He killed 2.
2. As far as we're aware.
That was fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hear me out. So I was having a random thought last night, and I thought about there's definitely hey, calm down. There's definitely been an athlete that has murdered somebody and 100% gotten away with it. Like, by that I mean
Ray Lewis.
No. First of all, Ray Lewis did not kill that guy.
Bro, he had a $5,000 all white suit.
He was there. He was there. I'm sure the blood got on him, but I don't think he's the one who actually killed the guy. What I was gonna say is no, we know about that. I'm talking about Never, the public never knew about it. No suspicion, no nothing. There's definitely at least one athlete across sports history, I'm talking about of note, that had got killed somebody, never even got sniffed to being uncovered.
I can agree with you there. Think about like all the there's been a few prominent NFL players that have been associated with gangs.
Yeah.
And have never, always kind of like on the high level of just like respect for them and what they do for the community. But then you got the other gang members in that community.
Because like, so we
like
now know that like Aaron Hernandez killed like 3 to 5 people, but like if he didn't kill that one guy, would those other ones ever have gotten found out? Would there ever been investigations that he was linked with those other killings? And
That's
like
true.
he never got I don't think he ever got charged on any of these, but like we know obviously we know for 100% fact he killed that one guy, but like it's like 99.9 that he might have killed like multiple other people. I'm sorry for those that clicked onto a Miami Dolphins podcast thinking thinking they're gonna hear about Miami Dolphins stuff, and you just hear
Jeez.
athletes killing people. But there's definitely somebody like maybe Dante Culpepper killed somebody. I don't know.
Dante Culpepper, out of all the people. Hey, I have a random thought. Not really random. I brought this up.
We're already on it, so let's go.
So,
can it get more random than what I just said? So
it's not that random. No.
That's boring.
Basically,
I can get better.
Jarvis Landry back to the Dolphins, still a free agent. Could he possibly be brought in to be our 6th receiver?
No. First of all, I would. At that point, I think that'd just be disrespectful to him to bring him back at that low of a level. I wouldn't want to bring him back unless he's actually going to have some sort of use. Because I enjoy like you, Donovan. You know that I'm not as sentimental when it comes to former players as you are. But usually when I say that, I'm referring to players that I never saw play. Jarvis Landry, I actually got to see play and got to root for and got to love. And because of that, and because of the fact that I am not as sentimental with players and I actually have that with him, I don't want him to ever play for the Dolphins ever again. Like, we've had our moments. We had our moment with him. Thank you, Rondolfo. We had our moments with him as one of our best players on the team. Like, obviously, like, he's not going to have his jersey retired or anything like that, but he had his moments. He had his time as one of the best receivers in football. We loved it. We lived it. It happened. Let's enjoy it rather than him come back and being like, a 600-yard receiver or being what he's been in recent years, just constantly beat up. I don't want to see him go through that. I'd rather him just retire right now. And the career he's had is what the career he's had.
All right, now here's another question. Do you think
No.
you should sign a 1-day contract for retired Dolphin?
I don't really care. I think those are kind of cheesy at this point. Like, did Brady?
No, I think
it's gotten cheesy.
He split most of his career between the Dolphins and the Browns, and he did a lot more with the Dolphins, although he did get to more Pro Bowls with the Browns.
I think that should be held to players that are going to be like Hall of Famers.
Or like Ring of Honor at least.
I don't think he did quite enough, and the team just wasn't quite successful. Bring back Sue, Ndamukong Suh.
That's an interesting one.
So that's gonna be that would be like a signing like he did last year with Philly. He's not gonna play the first half of the season. Like, he's at the point age wise and how big his body is, he can't hold up for a 17 game season plus playoffs. He's gonna do exactly what he did last year, probably, and come back week 10. If he is going to.
It's not even that he can't. It's just that he doesn't feel like it. He doesn't he doesn't want to, go through the process. He's like, hey, look, I want a ring chase. He literally said, he's like, I'm only coming back to win a ring. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
Well,
and that's what.
I don't think his body, at his age, at his size, like, you see big guys don't stay around. Like, Jason Peters is like an anomaly being that big and playing this long. And we've seen the injuries.
Justin Houston.
Yeah, we've seen, not even close to what we're talking about with a proper defensive lineman. Like, he's more of a linebacker. Like, these guys are 300 plus pounds, constantly putting wear and tear on their bodies. Sue, I don't think he could hold up for a 17-game season. Like, there's not many defensive tackles that get to their 30s and maintain their health. But if we signed him in week 10 and we're making a playoff push, I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were looking to sign a veteran defensive tackle. I'm sure we gave him a call before we signed Deshaun Hand, but
I don't know if they did, because I think they probably know exactly. I think the team would think exactly what we just saw. Like, can this guy really hold up for an entire season?
At that point, you're not asking him to go there and be a starter. Like, when he first signed with Philly, he was there to be a starter. Like, because at that point they had what, 2 or 3 defensive tackles that were out.
Yeah, probably.
So like,
I think. I don't know.
It was definitely at least 2, because they had named Large.
He was playing. Where he played?
No, he was out. He was out. He played in the Super Bowl. He came back, but he wasn't playing when they signed Sue.
Okay.
Did JJ Watt sign on one day with the Texans?
I don't know. Yeah, I saw that.
No, he did not.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I think he planned. Actually, no, he did. He did. Hold on. I think he did.
I think it's kind of lost its welcome. It's lost its importance. Yeah, it's cool to see, like, you know, if Tom Brady did it with the Patriots. I don't remember if he did or didn't, but Tom Brady did with the Patriots. Or if Julio Jones did it with the Falcons. Like, these all-time greats doing it, yeah, cool. J.J. Watt is also included in that class. Like, going to be a Hall of Famer. Cool. Jarvis Landry, love him. Not a Hall of Famer. Not even going to get his jersey retired. There's just not really a need for that. You kind of... the more you do it with guys who maybe don't necessarily deserve it, the more that it loses its value. And that's the thing that sucks is just for Dolphins fans is we don't really have anybody that could do that. We don't have anybody. Like, Jarvis Landry is probably the single guy that you look at him like you'd like him to bring back on a one day, just because of a lack of guys, a lack of Hall of Famers in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Cameron Wake is one that I would love to have come back on a one day. But as of other players, there's not really too many to think of. Especially, like, you have to think, you want people that had success to come back here with a one-day contract. Like, Cameron Wake had success. Jarvis Landry had at least some kind of success. Other players that are, still around the league, like Tannehill, he didn't have success here. So bringing him back would be pointless because he had more success in.
Well, you would love it probably.
No, he had more success in 2 years in Tennessee than he did in 7 years in Miami, and it's because he got the benefit of being Alex Smith on the Chiefs pretty much over there versus Yeah,
and it's just kind of what circling back the wagons moment to talking about OJ McDuffie versus Dolphins fans. Like, Dolphins fans have been fed up just on the lack of people to root for, lack of happiness, lack of success. And the fact that, Zach Thomas is our last Hall of Famer, as far as I'm aware, like most recent Hall of Famer, and he played when he retired, 10 years ago? More than that?
Hey, technically speaking, Jason Taylor is our most recent player that's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, most recent player that left the team. Yeah, you're right. Jason Taylor is. And he retired 13 years ago.
Yeah, it's about 13 years ago. Yeah,
and that's guys who are Dolphins. Like, we probably had somebody in recent years that maybe played a year or two with us. Maybe I'm. This was not intended to something to talk about, so I'm not really sure off the top of my head. We just haven't had the guys. We haven't had the success. We haven't had the winning. So, yes, TD is definitely a little bit more, provocative when it comes to stuff like that. But as Dolphins fans, it's true. Like, we've missed out on a lot of winning. We've missed out on a lot of good memories. While the division's being dominated by the Patriots, while so much success, all these other teams are having success. Like, we haven't got to see a playoff win. There hasn't been a playoff win in this team's. The team hasn't won a playoff game since I was 10 months old, 11 months old. Come on. You were what, 2.5?
Yeah, it was about 2.5.
Tyreek Hill's gonna be the guy who makes the Hall of Fame. He's gonna be the next one. Like, I'm 95% certain Tyreek Hill makes the Hall of Fame.
On this team, as of right now, we have 1, 2, 3,
We have
4
two.
potential Hall of Fame.
Two of them I'm very confident.
2 for sure.
Being Jalen Ramsey and
Ramsey and
yeah,
I was
Tyreek Hill.
thinking Teron Armstead's fairly close. He had dominant years with the Saints. He just didn't have, the full seasons to go with it.
If he retired today, he would not be a Hall of Famer.
And then Xavier Howard.
If he retired today, he would not be a Hall of Famer. No.
No, I'm saying those are 2 potential, and then 2 that are.
Those are the 2 closest to. Yeah. Jalen Ramsey, I think, for sure would be. It's right there at the line of for sure. If he retired today, he would be. Same thing with Tyreek Hill. Like Colin Cowherd actually talked about this. Actually, maybe we can talk about something else about Colin Cowherd in a second. Yeah, I know.
Don't do it. Don't.
Yeah, we're going to. We're going to. We're fully going to. Because I think it's an interesting conversation to have. Again, we're already here. We've already talked so much off subject what we've been to talk about. We talked about players murdering each other. All right, how is that too far? They talked about how the guys like that are like right there up to that line, whereas we're not sure. Okay, screw it. We're here. Let's go and talk about it. Okay, so we saw, if you guys that are in here, I'm sure you guys have seen it too. The list that Colin Cowherd did, where he's like breaking down all the quarterbacks, and he gets to 20 guys since 2020, if it was 20, whatever it was, guys since 2013 that he says can't win the Super Bowl. And, there's guys on there like Justin Fields, there's guys on there like Blake Bortles, and then there was also Dwayne Haskins. And obviously, he's not winning a Super Bowl.
The worst part about it, he was reading, and so when it says on the title, it accidentally said can instead of can't, and then he apologized for that. He's like, it says can, but it's supposed to be can't. And then he goes on to read the list, and then he says Dwayne Haskins. He says it, and he doesn't correct himself.
I'm not upset about it. I'm not really that upset about it. So,
of course,
hear me out.
Factually correct.
No, that's not at all. It's as somebody like. Obviously, I'm nowhere near as big as Colin Cowherd, but when I went to FAU, worked as sports radio director. I went on ESPN a couple times. I commentated games for Conference USA. I even broadcasted like the Final Four for FAU, right? So I have had a lot of experience sitting in front of a mic, and when you're going, I mean, you've probably even experienced this in the few months that we've done this, and when we did JK Productions, when we did the stream there, when you're just talking. Sometimes you just say something you don't realize you're going to say, and especially in his position where he's trusting his graphics team. He's trusting, Fox Sports 1. He's trusting his people to put something together. He's in broadcaster mode. He's in host mode. So when Dwayne Haskins is up there and he's going down the list, like maybe like there's a minute part of him that's back there like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. But he's focused on what he's saying. He's focused on how he's saying it. He's focused on getting the segment in an allotted amount of time. There's so much in your mind. Like, I'm sitting here hosting this. Like, today's episode has been all over the place. We already accepted that. Yeah, woohoo. But most of the time when we're on here, like, okay, like, you'll be talking, and I'm like, I'm hearing you, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, where's my response like this going to be? What's the next thing we're going to talk about? Trying to think about a segment, 2 segments from now we're going to talk about. There's just so much in your mind when you're hosting a show, when you're live on a mic, that something like that is so easy to happen, and you're because you're already set, you're 7 moves ahead in your mind. That thing right there, that egregious comment, like it's right there. It's so easy to slip up and be like, okay, it's there. We're just going to talk about it. We're just going to go by it, because he's already thinking of the hour 3 segment. Because that's just what ends up happening when you're in this chair.
I understand what you're saying, but like he had a pause after he said it, like he knew what he said.
That's what I'm saying. There's probably something back there that's like that isn't right, but he has to keep going because he has time to fill. He has the rest of the segment. He has his point to get to. Like there's probably something there that's like wait. But he has to keep going. He doesn't have time to process. That's the autopilot of a talk show host.
But he's had 2 other shows since then and hasn't apologized.
It's probably one of those as he just feels like, better just... Now, personally, I would have came out and apologized, been like, hey, like yesterday's show, brought up Dwayne Haskins in terms of Super Bowl guys that would win the Super Bowl, didn't mean any disrespect to him. and it was just a clerical error, miscommunication, didn't get together. It's my responsibility. I would have done something like that. So I agree. Like I would have done something like that, but I can also very much see like, look, it wasn't life change. It wasn't like with Adam Schefter, the way he handled Dwayne Haskins' death. Like that was like legitimately bad because he typed it out, he looked at it. Probably maybe somebody else looked at it, probably not, but he typed it out, reread it, tweeted it, sent it out there. That was all 100% him. There was nothing else that was going on. It was all him during that moment. Whereas with Colin Cowherd, again, he has a team of people behind him who are creating these graphics, who are working with him to produce the show. And again, he's in broadcaster mode. He's in analyst mode. He's just going and going and going and going. And when you're in those moments, 30 minutes later, you're like, wait, did I say that? Like the next TV break, he was like, he probably sat there to himself like, huh. But then you just have to keep going.
I guarantee you he's probably cursing someone out in the back. Be like, who the mother did that? Left Dwayne Haskins on there. Who did not put Cant instead of Can?
Yeah. Those are, I don't think he's yelling because as far as I've seen, like I actually am one of the few people that like Colin Cowherd. So this is also coming from a guy who's like, who has defended him a lot throughout his career. Obviously, he says some things that are like, all right, come on. But for the most part, like if you watch like 90% of his show is actually good stuff, and then like you get to the clips and it's like sometimes you want to pound your head against the wall. I completely understand that. But also, I'm sure we have that. I'm sure there's guys watching our show that are like, what are these bozos talking about if they just saw like a 15-second clip of us talking about Aaron Hernandez killing people. Like,
yeah,
it's part of the business, all right? And if you're in the business long enough, you're going to say something stupid. If people are continuing to watch you, that means you have big, emphatic takes. That's why he's on TV and some other people aren't. That's why he's had his show for all these years and other people have not. So me personally, and also, you look, the outrage died like that. Like, I kind of wanted to talk about it today, but then when I saw that it wasn't really being talked about, I'm like, do we really bother about it? But since we came to it, we're here. That's just my spiel.
Liberty will be a nice edit.
Liberty? Not sure what you're talking about there, bud, honestly.
Yeah. In addition to CO.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know what you're talking about.
Howard?
Liberty will be a night addition
to Howard.
CO. Liberty.
Is there someone named Liberty?
I don't think so. But we're probably gonna wrap it up there.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna wrap it up there. Stream went even longer than I expected it to. We thank y'all very much for watching. I'm probably not. There's probably gonna be maybe a few clips that we get from this. Maybe talking about Waddle. Maybe talking about the preview. Look for those tomorrow if you did not catch us talking about Jalen Waddle and the preview. Every single Wednesday we are live here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate, 7:00, give or take. We've been late last few weeks. This bozo here to my right decided to let his power go out. Don't know why he did that.
Excuse you.
Franklin, Conference USA doesn't exist anymore. I guess it kind of exists. FAU's now in AAC. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Conference USA kind of blew up. Like everybody, there is still Conference USA, but it's kind of like the Big 12 right now, where they're like kind of in flux. Like, okay, what do we do? Whereas FAU left for the AAC, like Tulsa, UTSA, a few teams left for
a lot of teams are trying to get into Power 5, which kind of like makes Power 5 not Power 5 anymore.
It's like Power 4. Somebody needs to kick out Vanderbilt of the SEC. All right, I'm tired of them being there. I'm tired of Vanderbilt being there, bro. What have they done ever? What has Vanderbilt done as a program ever?
That's insane that they're an SEC school.
Besides recruit and have a captain that I went to elementary school with. Maxwell Worship.
Did you get in a fight with him too?
No, I didn't get in a fight with him. Just Michael Forrest. I actually told that story today to little plug before we finish. If you like FAU football, go over to the FAU Owl's Nest YouTube channel tomorrow. Inside the Burrow, your boy who is hosting the podcast over there, be going over FAU training camp. So we got Miami Dolphins training talk over here, FAU over there. Your boy does 2 podcasts in one day. That's how we ball. So if you like FAU basketball, also talk about that a little bit today. They're going to be in the Dickie V Invitational December 5th, taking on Illinois back in New York City for the first time since the Elite 8 and the Sweet 16. So if you want to hear about the FAU Owls football and basketball, go subscribe. First of all, right now, go to subscribe to the FAU Owls Nest YouTube channel, and then wait till 7 o'clock tomorrow to hear your boy, Zach Weinberger, Richard Pereira, and JJ Metz discuss a whole host of FAU topics. But we are... And JJ's the 12-year-old. JJ's the 12-year-old who has a hot mom. Anyways, that is all for us here on Miami Dolphins Syndicate. Jacob Kelly, Donovan Quick. I put our Twitter handles. Neither of us really use Twitter, but we might. So
I reuse or not reuse. I retweet a lot of stuff.
So just go ahead and give us a follow. Might as well, right? Again, every Wednesday, look out for us. If you see us at a game, say hi. Thank you all very much for watching. Jacob, Donovan, everybody have a great rest of your day.